Hello, I'm Kofi Bamfo, and welcome to my channel. Let's talk about guilt and shame, the two abusive parents that live inside of our heads. If you're prone to a guilty conscience like I was, then shame will come alongside it to keep you in a state of self-judgment, making you feel bad about yourself for as long as you let it. Shame berates you like a nagging mother. After all these years, you're still dealing with that addiction? When we feel guilt, our initial response is to run and hide, to avoid why the guilt was there in the first place. But sometimes we run out of places to hide from ourselves. And when a person feels cornered from shame and guilt or self-judgment, they lash out in violence from fear of being exposed. Because the last thing a person wants to know is that the thing they feel shame about, the thing they feel guilty over, could possibly be true. Of course, it never is true. It's just the negative ego trying to convince you that you need to protect yourself. Therefore, be defensive, be angry, be hateful, be violent. Anyone who's ever struggled with procrastination will use distractions as a ploy from dealing with the underlying issue of shame. You'll never amount to anything because you're not good enough. If only you were a better husband. If only you were a better wife. If only you can get it up. If only you could stay up. Shame will create a better scenario than the one you're currently in to make you feel stuck on the idea of how bad you are. As long as you're wallowing in self-pity, then it's doing its job. There's no such thing as a perfect scenario where shame and guilt will not come knock on your door like some unannounced visitor and try you. Like two Mormons knocking on your door in the middle of the day. Excuse me, do you know about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? Could we come in and share about him with you? People who are exploring their spirituality fall into the trap of shame whenever they make a mistake. I thought I got past this. I should be better than this. For centuries, religion has used guilt and shame as a form of control. They've created this image of God who's watching your every step, watching your every move, ready to judge you and condemn you if you slip. Every step you take, every move you make, I'll be watching you. Religion, because of all its standards, rules, and obligations, has seared into our collective consciousness morality, the right and wrongs, which are simply value judgments that stem from religious views. Oftentimes, what a society considers right or wrong may not be right or wrong for the collective as a whole, and so they've created these standards from their set of values, and they attempt to impose them on everyone, and those that don't meet those standards, they judge them with shame and guilt. Right and wrongs, morals, are simply human constructs for human conditioning. The clearest way to navigate any situation is by looking at its effects. Is it positive or negative? Positive, inclusive, connective, expansive, or is it negative, disconnective, segregative, destructive? I recently read online that a pastor and a community leader named Bubba was outed by Christian conservative groups for being a cross-dresser. He had his public social media profile that painted him as a moral leader according to Christian standards. And he had an alias account where he liked to show himself wearing makeup and women's clothing. And when these Christian groups found his secret account, well, they ridiculed him, shamed him, and said his behavior was unbiblical. They said he should be ashamed because the Bible teaches that it is an abomination for a man to dress as a woman. Not long after being outed, even after apologizing to his church, even though he had nothing to apologize for, this man Bubba could no longer bear the shame, so he took his own life. And after Bubba had committed suicide, those same Christians continued their attacks by saying he was wrong for being a crossdresser. Imagine how conditioned you would have to be to believe that a book is more important than human life. Right and wrong are a value judgment of the same coin. Right produces self-righteousness, judgment, and entitlement. Wrong produces guilt, shame, and violence. So where does guilt come from? And why do we struggle with it until it turns into shame? Guilt is a natural rush of energy that lets you know when you're out of alignment with yourself, outside of your integrity. It's an alignment energy. It's similar to anger. Anger is a natural rush of energy that indicates to you that you have a negative belief about yourself that is not inherently true. And that belief has moved you out of alignment, has moved you out of integrity with yourself. yourself. And anger that lasts more than 15 seconds turns into self-judgment. If it lasts longer than that, becomes hate. The guilt is not designed to shame you. It's not designed to judge you whenever you slip up or make a mistake. It's only there to let you know when you're out of alignment, period. But because of societal conditioning, we've assigned negative definitions to it, which defeats the purpose of why the guilt was there in the first place. And because we've heaped upon ourselves negative definitions as to why the guilt was there in the first place, we created this detailed process of letting go of the shame. Why am I still struggling with this? Why am I still dealing with this? I thought I was better than this. Why? By immediately taking responsibility for what the guilt is there showing you, you're able to short circuit the effects of shame. Responsibility, the ability to respond, and not the disability of shame. Once the guilt has shown you what it is that you need to take a look at, you can take responsibility, self-correct, get back into alignment, and move on. There's really no need to wallow in shame by heaping judgment upon yourself. By having the alignment rush of anger or guilt, it's showing you that you're operating properly, that you're functioning, you're self-correcting, you're recognizing that you're out of alignment, and that is a good thing. So there's really no need to wallow in self-pity or stew in hate whenever you feel that rush of anger or guilt. Do a little self-investigation, find out why the alarm bells are going off, let go of the negative beliefs, and move on. You don't need to do 50 Hail Marys unless you want to. Congratulate yourself, appreciate yourself, love yourself by taking responsibility, the ability to respond to that natural rush of energy in the form of guilt and anger. I'm Kofi Bamfo. Until next time, be well.